millionaire walked out of his mansion, ready to step into his luxury car, but his simple maid suddenly signaled with fear, "Don't enter the car!" Seconds later, he realized the shocking truth that changed everything. The sun had barely risen when Mr. Raymond, a wealthy businessman, stepped out of his glass mansion, briefcase in hand, preparing for another important meeting. His luxury car gleamed in the driveway, polished to perfection. A chauffeur stood beside it, waiting for him with a practiced smile. But just as Raymond approached, his simple maid, Anna, appeared at the corner of the house. She wasn't supposed to be there. Her hands trembled and her face carried fear. She raised her hand quickly, signaling him to stop. Then, in a hushed but urgent voice, she mouthed, "Don't get in the car!" Raymond froze in confusion, his polished shoes clicking against the stone path. He frowned at Anna, wondering why a maid would dare interfere in his morning routine. The chauffeur looked puzzled, even slightly annoyed, shifting uncomfortably. "Sir, everything is ready," the driver said, opening the door politely. But Anna's eyes widened, and she shook her head violently, almost begging him with her gestures. She repeated her sign again, pointing toward the car. Raymond's heart raced. Something in her expression felt deadly serious. For a man used to power, Raymond was not easily swayed by servants' fears. Yet there was something about Anna's trembling urgency that struck him. She wasn't the type to overstep boundaries. He hesitated, his hand hovering over the door handle, watching her. Her lips formed words again, "Danger inside." The chauffeur laughed nervously, insisting nothing was wrong. But Raymond took a cautious step back, sensing something hidden beneath the calm surface. The air around them suddenly felt heavier. Raymond turned to Anna, demanding an explanation. She stepped forward, still shaking, and whispered, "Please, sir, don't sit in that car." The chauffeur protested loudly, his voice cracking with forced confidence. He urged his employer to ignore her, but Raymond's instincts grew sharper. He noticed the driver's eyes flickering nervously, a bead of sweat forming on his forehead. That wasn't normal. A chill ran down Raymond's spine. Something wasn't adding up, and Anna's warning seemed less like fear and more like knowledge. Seconds felt like hours as Raymond weighed his decision. He asked Anna firmly, "Why shouldn't I?" She bit her lip and pointed toward the car's undercarriage, then to the back seat. Her hands trembled uncontrollably. "There's something dangerous," she stammered. The chauffeur snapped angrily, "This is ridiculous." But his agitation only made Raymond more suspicious. He waved for security, who rushed over instantly. The guards surrounded the vehicle, their eyes narrowing as they prepared to inspect. The chauffeur stepped back suddenly, panic flashing in his eyes. He tried to stop the guards, but they pushed past him. One bent down near the tires, running his hand carefully underneath. Another opened the door, scanning the interior. Suddenly, a sharp cry broke out. "Sir, come here!" One guard shouted, pulling something from under the car seat. It was a small black device, wires twisted tightly, blinking with a faint red light. Raymond's blood ran cold. Everyone froze. The device was unmistakable, a bomb. Raymond's entire body shivered at the sight, realizing how close he had come to disaster. The chauffeur tried to run, but the guards restrained him instantly. Anna gasped, clutching her apron, her face pale. Raymond's mind raced. Someone had planned to kill him, and his own driver was part of it. But how did Anna know? He turned to her, desperate for an answer. While sirens began to wail in the distance as police were called, Anna's eyes filled with tears as she explained. The night before, while cleaning the garage, she had overheard the chauffeur on the phone. He had whispered about tomorrow morning and no mistakes. She didn't understand everything, but his words made her uneasy. Later, she noticed him sneaking to the car, staying far longer than usual. Out of fear, she checked and saw wires beneath the seat. She hadn't slept the entire night, debating whether to tell Raymond. In the end, her conscience forced her to act. Raymond stared at her, shocked into silence. The simple maid, a woman he had barely noticed in his grand house, had just saved his life. The chauffeur, now handcuffed, shouted curses, but no one listened. The bomb squad rushed in, carefully removing the device. Neighbors gathered at a distance, whispering about the drama unfolding in the millionaire's driveway. Raymond felt his chest tighten as the reality sank in. His life had been spared by someone he least expected. For the first time in years, the proud CEO felt humbled. He walked up to Anna, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "You saved me," he said quietly, his voice trembling with sincerity. Anna lowered her gaze, shaking her head. I just did what was right, sir. Her modesty struck him harder than the morning's terror. She could have ignored what she saw. Too afraid to speak up, but she chose courage instead. That choice had changed everything. Police questioned everyone, confirming the chauffeur's betrayal. Apparently, he had been bribed by a rival business group to eliminate Raymond. The bomb's timer had been set to explode once the car moved beyond the gates. If Anna hadn't intervened, it would have been too late. Raymond felt a shiver each time he imagined himself sitting inside, oblivious to his fate. He realized how close death had come, and how God had sent a warning through a simple maid. As the investigation continued, Raymond ordered security to protect Anna. "She is not just a maid," he declared firmly, shocking his staff. "She is my lifesaver." His words carried weight, echoing in everyone's minds. Anna stood silently, unused to such recognition, but gratitude shone in her eyes. For the first time, she wasn't invisible in the household. Her act of bravery had given her a place in Raymond's heart that money could never buy. News of the incident spread quickly, hitting headlines across the city. "Millionaire saved by maid's warning," the papers read. Reporters camped outside his mansion, eager to interview Anna, but she remained humble, refusing to take credit. "Anyone would have done the same," she said softly, avoiding cameras. Raymond, however, knew the truth. Most people wouldn't have risked their job, or even their life, to stand against danger. That made her extraordinary. In the days that followed, Raymond's outlook on life changed. He began spending more time with his employees, treating them with dignity instead of distance. Anna's courage had reminded him of something. Money often made him forget. Every life had value, no matter their position. Gratitude replaced pride in his heart. Each morning when he stepped outside, he no longer just saw a maid in his home. He saw a hero who had saved him from the shadows of death. Raymond often replayed that morning in his mind, the urgent sign, the shouted warning, and the truth revealed seconds later. He realized that wealth could buy luxury cars, grand mansions, and loyal staff, but it could not buy trust, bravery, or loyalty of the heart. Those came from people like Anna. From that day forward, every time he looked at his car, he silently remembered the maid who saved his life with nothing more than courage and a warning. "Don't enter the car."